And welcome back to Parent Squad. So today we are tackling the topic of sleep. And we know getting kids to bed can be a challenge really at any age. So here to help us sort all of this out is Dr. Lucas Huffman, a family medicine physician with Franciscan Health. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is an important topic.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have a 16-month-old. Luckily, he actually sleeps pretty well from an early age. We did start putting him in the crib, and having that separation, I think, is what helped us. But there is an occasional issue, so don't want to make it sound like the situation is just absolutely perfect. But I have friends that say their babies never sleep through the night. Is this something that you hear a lot about?
Always, all the time. You get the babies that don't sleep at all and sleep during the day, or the ones that sleep perfectly throughout the night, and then we don't mess with those ones.
Right? Okay, so let's talk about the ideal amount of sleep. Obviously, it's going to look different for different age ranges. Maybe, I don't know if you want to start with a baby or a toddler age and then work your way up.
Yeah, so for toddlers, you want quite a bit of sleep, actually. You're looking at probably more than 10 hours or so. Sometimes that's not all in one session, as you may have found out, it's throughout the day. But getting older into the school age kids, preschoolers, you typically want around 10 to 13 hours of sleep. School age 6 to 12 years old, you want about 9 to 12 hours of sleep. And then the teenagers, we want 8 to 10 hours of sleep, but that can oftentimes be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was still wanting more sleep. I needed the 9 to 12. Yeah. Is that something that is different, like it will fluctuate by person?
It can fluctuate by person. Yeah, everyone's circadian rhythm can be somewhat different. Some people, it's a rare percentage of the population, but we can get away with 4 or 5 hours of sleep and be completely rested in the day.
Yeah, those people are so weird. I would like to know what their secret is.
Yes, I would definitely start at the 8 to 10 hours before we go to the 4 to 5.
Yeah, you got to work your way. Okay, so what is your best advice for creating a good bedtime routine then?
Yeah, a bedtime routine, consistency is key. So for our younger kids, maybe think bath, book, bedtime. For the older kids, try to get a screen-free, calming, quiet environment, trying to keep the sleep-wake cycles consistent throughout the week, and trying to avoid stimulation about an hour before bed. That can help stimulate melatonin release and sleep onset.
I know they talk about that for adults too, everyone making sure they put the screens away. So melatonin is a common sleep aid, and what are your thoughts about using it for kids?
Melatonin is very commonly used, sometimes too much, but my recommendation is that if we do want to start melatonin, oftentimes the studies show that very small doses, 0.5 milligrams or 1 milligram, about 30 to 60 minutes can be beneficial. But if we increase that to higher doses, sometimes that doesn't help sleep too much, but it'll increase side effects like morning grogginess and headaches. And as always, it's important for parents to talk to their child's providers prior to starting melatonin, even though it is over the counter.
I was going to say, do they do higher doses with a prescription, or is that not a thing?
Yes, sometimes higher doses are used, 3 milligrams, 5 milligrams, can go up to 10 or even higher. But the studies show that maybe the smaller doses can help, and then your kid doesn't feel so tired in the morning.
Okay. And then what about, I think about the parents who use Benadryl. Yeah. We got to talk about it, okay? We got to talk about it because I know some people are.
Yeah, so Benadryl is excellent at getting you to sleep, but the actual rest that you're getting while sleeping isn't the same as if you would not use Benadryl. So you go to sleep faster, but your actual restful sleep isn't going to be as good. So oftentimes you still wake up feeling groggy and tired and wondering how you slept 8 hours because it doesn't feel like it.
Okay, and it's actual medicine, so let's be responsible here. So there are actually a lot of things that can make bedtime a struggle. Let's actually start with the kids who just don't want to go to bed. I am starting to see a little bit of that in my 16-month-old. I think he thinks we're up playing without him.
Yeah. Very, very
And he's
common.
trying to just stretch the night out, stretch out the bedtime routine.
Yes, very common. Bedtime resistance is very common. Every parent will likely experience it at some point. But using some behavioral strategies such as positive reinforcement, letting them know they did good when they do go to bed at the appropriate time, bedtime fading, just kind of putting them to bed sooner and sooner can be very effective, and creating a comforting, calming environment, an inviting environment, dark, cool, quiet, can be helpful sometimes. And today we eat a little bit too much sugar sometimes. So avoiding sugar about an hour before bed can actually help decrease the melatonin suppression and increase sleep onset as well.
Oh, okay. I actually had candy before bed last night. That was an odd night. Okay. Specifically though, for the children, do you see? I guess what would be your advice for the I guess. Well, okay, let's back up. I have friends who have newborns, okay? And they are just trying to get them to sleep. They're trying to figure it out. I mean, can you provide some tips that way?
Yeah, that can be very challenging because if you're a newborn in the womb, they don't know if it's morning or daytime. They just sleep whenever. So when the baby comes out, they also don't know if it's morning or night. Sometimes the crying is what brings parents into the bedroom to think that the baby is not sleeping. So oftentimes what I will tell parents is if you lay your baby down, let them sleep for a little bit. If you hear crying, offer feed, breast milk, formula, whatever it may be. And then it's okay to leave the room as long as it's a safe environment and let them cry a bit before going back to sleep.
Okay, here I am at the toddler stage now. If we're working our way up the toddler stage, he is wanting to just continue whatever the night is, whether it's playing or even if it is with the book. After we read the book, then he wants to get up and play. And it's like, how can you explain, or is it just kind of being firm with that structure that you have?
Yeah, I think it's being firm with the structure and creating the routine. So letting him know that each night when the book is done, we leave the room, we tuck them in, and then we leave. Maybe turn a night light on, a comfort object like a stuffed animal, a blanket, a pillow can be useful sometimes. But that's a challenging one, trying to keep the structure the same.
Okay, this has a huge question mark for myself. What about the kids that don't want to stay in bed? Right now, he is in the crib, 16 months old, but I'm concerned about what is going to happen and how we're going to navigate him getting out. What's your advice with that?
Yeah, so another common thing, but it's important that you gently and consistently return them back to their bed. This is where night lights can be very helpful to reduce some of that fear of being alone in the room. The comfort objects, the stuffed animal that they have a name for, the blanket that's falling apart but it helps them sleep is very important. If we consistently let them sleep with us in our bed, it can increase their dependency on that, and oftentimes it can affect our sleep as the parent. We're waking up tired and groggy as well.
Yeah. Okay. So my concern is also him going to be getting out of bed and maybe like falling down the stairs or something like that. Do parents, and I'm a first-time mom, so I don't know, do they lock them in the room? Is that something that is encouraged by providers, or how do you handle that?
So that's different among all of the providers, but oftentimes people will have the lock on the outside of the room because they know the inside of the room is fairly safe. You've went through and made it all kid safe, so a lock outside the room can be okay. But if the lock is inside the room, making it challenging for you to get in, if you would need to, if they're crying, choking, you hear a fall would be somewhat dangerous.
Okay, to keep that in mind. Okay. That was an important question for me because I'm like, how do I navigate this? Okay, so let's talk tweens and teens. They are often on their own schedules by that age, but how can you actually encourage a good bedtime for them as well?
Interestingly, adolescents actually have a circadian phase delay, so they naturally want to stay up longer. It's part of normal physiology.
Really?
But it's important to remember they still need their 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So how we do that is some of the things we've already discussed, trying to keep the sleep-wake cycles consistent, even on the weekends, although challenging.
Yes.
And dim the lighting. And the one thing that parents will think I'm crazy or nearly impossible is sleeping without the phone in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Studies show that that's going to be better for their sleep and their sleep quality.
That, I mean, obviously I'm not there yet with a teenager. That I feel like we can master because that's just a firm boundary that you have to kind of bite down on. Yeah. I'm thinking more so in my house right now, the televisions in all the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Like maybe I have to be that parent to remove the TVs.
Yeah, I can say I haven't quite got there myself yet.
I know, because we're all watching our shows and stuff.
Yes, oftentimes as the parents are calming down, the kids asleep, you're watching your show.
Yeah.
But the TVs in the bedrooms, they're not supposed to be there, but that's often challenging, especially if we're removing the phones as well.
Yeah, okay. But if you're starting off on the good foot,
yes.
Maybe, I'm still early, maybe I can't screw this up. Okay, so we also know the kids' schedules get crazy. I mean, they have homework and sports practices and all these activities and just being a kid time. Some kids have busier lives than the adults, but let's talk over scheduling. How much is too much?
Yes, so very common in the society today.
Yes.
If your kid has no downtime, constantly anxious, overwhelmed, it's likely too much. We now know that unstructured time in children is going to promote creativity, social emotional well-being, help school performance, and oftentimes a sign of them being overwhelmed or doing too much is the increased irritability. They're actually telling people that they're too busy, or a frequent one is dropping grades.
Okay. So maybe you hear your kids over talking, you overhear them talking, and they're saying, oh, I can't do that. I got to do this. I got to
Yes.
do that. I got to do that. I got to do this.
Right, yeah.
I feel like what's tough these days is you're also following herd mentality. And so you're talking to other people that might be doing a bunch of things. So you feel compelled, like your child has to compete and catch up. I feel like that could potentially be an issue with that. I mean, that's a kind of a tough one to put a boundary there.
Yeah, I mean, even as adults, the parents, everything is structured nowadays.
Yeah.
We have a schedule that we have to stick to. We have to go to church. We have to come back, see the family, cook. But it's nice to have kids not feel that. Let them go outside and play, have some unstructured time, and let them kind of develop on their own.
And so how can that actually, the packed schedules impact children's sleep?
Yeah, we have late practices, which means that they come home and look at the screens late to do homework. They have stress all day. That's going to delay their sleep onset. And studies have shown that the National Sleep Foundation says that kids that have poor sleep quality has actually been linked to obesity, depression, and attention problems.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking about some of the parents in history that have really devoted a lot of time to like a sport. I'm thinking Serena Williams' family, or I wanted to say, dare I say the Michael Jackson family. I'm bringing those up as examples because I think people think, okay, if we're going to be serious about this and you like it and we're going to go far in it, we have to do this like a job and then some. Like, how do you find the balance? You want to push your children, but also you want it to be healthy too.
Yeah, that's a very good question. But it's important for parents to know as well that we now know that sleep boosts executive function, cognitive performance, which is critical for not only their academic performance, but their athletic performance and extracurricular activities.
Okay.
So truthfully, if they get a little bit more sleep, they may actually excel or be a little bit better in those sports or activities.
That makes sense. And then I also hear you saying, okay, some common sense needs to tap in for parents too. Pay attention, wake up, pay attention. Okay. And what about when it starts to take a toll on things like homework?
Yes.
That would be another sign, I imagine.
Taking toll on homework is, if you feel like practices are getting late and homework is getting pushed back later and later, it's going to affect their sleep. At that time, it would be my recommendation to kind of just look at the overall schedule. Is there something in here that we can change or fix? Because we now know sleep is going to be super beneficial to their academic performance, their homework time. And we know sleep-deprived kids just work less effectively, just like we do as adults.
Okay. He's saying it's all connected, people. It is all connected. Is there anything else you want to share?
I don't think so. Sleep is very, very important.
Yes, for children as well as for adults. So keep that in mind. Thank you, Dr. Huffman.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Okay, he is a family medicine doctor with Franciscan Health. If you live in the area, you can certainly go see him. You can find more info on our website. And still ahead, we are talking the parent playbook with City Moms. They're going to join us with tips to set up a home command center.